So, I've just watched this clip of Oliver Dugmore discuss what he describes as a deep sick.
The most common living arrangement for young men in this country used to be with their spouse, men my age, men in their 30s, used to be with their spouse, sometimes they'd have a kid. It's now with their parents. There is a real deep sickness for my generation, and something like 9% of your monthly income going towards something like this, that would make a ginormous difference. I just urge Rachel Reeves a little word of caution when she was saying, oh, should other people pay for you to go to university?
That's not what the conversation is, actually, is it?
My generation pays for a great deal of what happens in this country. I don't make much of the NHS, I use very few public services, I pay a lot of tax, and I'm very happy to. But if she wants to start making the argument, oh, should you be paying for things that you don't use, there'll be a lot of pensioners that don't get a pension.
In the UK, and it's being aired through the student finance debacle. And there's a part in the clip where he talks about an extra 9% might be beneficial to essentially young men whose living arrangements have gone from men in their 30s living with a child and a spouse to now with their parents. And it's refreshing to see that this point of view is being aired on a show like Newsnight, which obviously has a older demographic. However, this isn't a message of self-blame and whataboutery. This is actually the message for those who I expect nothing better from my colleagues and contemporaries, you know. What does it do to a society when that is the case? When, forget young men, young people, young women, their predominant living arrangement is with their parents. And he speaks about it from a male perspective. And what comes with it is images of an incel or someone who isn't social, someone who isn't ambitious, but that is less and less becoming the case. I mean, there are young women out there who avoid the social stigma of such aspersions. One of the issues with the incel doctrine or the incel creature is their reliance on their parents typically, or on their family members, the fact that they haven't gone out and created new relationship. And the same thing can be said of young women who typically, from what I've seen, either rely on their fathers or the state. A femcel. Now, this isn't to critique men or women. This is to critique a system. This is to critique my contemporaries who continue to beg a system that will not, because it can't, and because it doesn't benefit those who are benefiting from it, to change it. We've spent the last 5 to 10 years, what are we now, 2016, with the invention of cryptocurrencies, trying to rug pull our colleagues, trying to get the naive and the gullible to buy our pre-mined cum coin instead of using what is one of our predominant strengths, our ability to manipulate technology to create genuine change. It's clear that the economic system isn't in line with nature. There's a natural process that occurs within nature. Kingdoms fall, Leaders are replaced. Young people move into those positions that the old abdicate and make way for new ideas. That is not the case in the UK. It is static. And you have young people who can't move an inch out of the umbrella of their parents. What happens to someone who is young, who's got 10, 20, 30 grand's worth of savings when inflation is so high, if you believe the figures, when the economic outlook is so bleak, growth is low, they might have lost their job. What baffles me is why, if you do have 10, 20, 30 grand, you'd even put it further into the system. It is a deposit on a house. You're relinquishing your 20, 30, 40, 50 grand to lend more money, to a banking system that will get bailed out in economic times. And those who stand to benefit will be those already wealthy or older asset holders paying into a system which, from the way I'm sitting and standing, doesn't look like it's going to pay you back. What do you get out of the system? Your public transport's terrible. Your National Health Service is terrible. Your police service is terrible. The nation relies on unity and a common message and a common identity. The police don't care about catching criminals because it's not their problem. They still get paid at the end of the month. And it's easier just to make it go away. They want the easy option. And the status quo will continue and continue as long as your energy is focused at the incorrect targets. The next few years will be very important. I'm sick. I'm absolutely sick of seeing those slimy, distrustful, set 8 idiots in the UK course scamming. Of course, the course scammers on the internet are doing what they're doing. We're kind of seeing that the universities are the OGs, and that typifies the system. It's rotten to its core. And if you've aligned your identity and self-confidence with such a system, no wonder your mental health's in the bin. We all see it. People lying to themselves and getting rewarded by the system. People getting rewarded for not doing the right thing. I know people near where I live who are alcoholics, or were. I think the PIP rules have changed. And they were getting money for nice German cars, Audis, etc., because they were alcoholics. I don't have an issue with any alcoholics. It's definitely a disease. It's not a disease that warrants an Audi or a BMW, is it? They're lucky that the younger generation is glued to the algorithms. Guy Fawkes wouldn't even be Guy Fawkes these days. He'd be on TikTok twerking. A system that propagates and promotes dishonesty, laziness, and subjugates meritocracy, self-responsibility, accountability, ambition, is doomed to fail. So yes, Ollie Dugmore, there is a deeper sickness. But the more I think about it, the more I think it's less in the system. And it's present in every man and woman on that island. Jah Rastafari, Jah bless.